Hello, guys. Welcome back to the Bar Gym Reviews. Today, my top 5 regrets when starting my home gym. Stick around and find out my top 5. All right, so number 5 is horse stall mats. And no, not the horse mats themselves. Actually, was not buying enough horse stall mats. So originally I had 6, which just takes up where my power rack is now. Um, so I've actually expanded out to 18 horse stall mats now. So when you're planning your gym, make sure you have the adequate space. And if you have a space that's as large as mine, just realize that you're going to quickly take over more and more space. But map everything out first, right? So make sure you know you have a designed plan first and make sure you know how much flooring you need because it's really a pain to take it in chunks and also to move equipment around to place it where you need it. So, number 5, my number 5 regret is not buying enough flooring at first, specifically my horse stall mats. All right, so number 4 on my list is actually my safety strap spotters. So the reason I have safety strap spotters here is because I really should have gone with the flip down just because they're a little bit more versatile. They would have had some holes, 1-inch holes in them that I could have used other attachments, other accessories. I could have done more like pipe pin, like kind of presses and pulls, where these have a lot of movement in them. Another thing that's really annoying to many rogue customers or anybody that has these specific safety straps is you can only kind of move one end down at a time and you got to kind of go back and forth. I have remedied that with a clevis quick release pin here, so I can kind of release them and then move them quickly up and down the rack as I see fit. So my regret number 4 is really there because I should have done the research more. I should have kind of thought about future applications and the versatility that would have been added if I would have gotten flip down safety specifically for Rogue. So that is my regret number 4. So make sure you do your research and think of all the things, even a little bit outside the box, like I should have done with my safety strap attachment choice. All right, number 3 on my list for buyer's remorse is not my newer bells, but actually the Titan dumbbell stand that comes with them. The reason I regret this purchase is I really should have done a little bit more research. So you're going to see that's the theme here. Um, it's just a little too tall. Now I'm a pretty short guy, so this isn't too bad for liftoff. So if I'm coming here, it's not that bad here. But once you get to heavier weights, it becomes really hard to re-rack the weights. So when you think about how do I want to store dumbbells or store really anything, especially if it's going to be heavy, probably don't want it on the floor. Probably want it off the floor, like I had with this purchase. But to be honest, I really didn't do the research because I kind of thought about it. And yeah, I looked at the height and I went, okay, cool. I can reach the handles. But for me, what really came down to was when you get to a heavier load, that's when this becomes kind of really cumbersome and difficult to handle. So make sure you do your research when looking at storage options, height options, and think about who's going to be in your gym, right? For me, both my wife and I are pretty short, so it is kind of difficult to get these on and off the rack because of the height. If honestly, if it was like 3 inches shorter, we'd probably be, in a different have a different story. So I am looking into kind of looking at maybe those rep racks. I understand they're definitely shorter than this, and I feel like if I could have a space where I could walk into a cart or a stand, I would have done it. I honestly probably would have thought about buying Nuabel's actual stands because you can walk into that as well. So one regret I do have is this Titan Fitness adjustable dumbbell storage rack. So number 2 on my list is battle rope. So for me, I bought the Rep battle rope. It's kind of heavy. Honestly, it's just one of those things that looks cool, right? You were like, oh, I want to add some cardio equipment. I need something that maybe I can do some high intensity cardio. And I'll just be honest, I just don't use this that often. For me, the handles themselves, they're like kind of slick. They kind of start slipping out of your hands. I gotta use chalk sometimes. Then things kind of get messy. So for me, battle ropes, if that's something that you like have to have in your training, or it's something that you love to train, and you love it for maybe your back or your shoulders or something, then yeah, go for it. But for me, this is not something that I had like in my training already. And I really was like, oh, I really want battle ropes. You always see it on commercials, and you see some of the football players, and you see people doing those, and it's a great exercise. However, for me, it's very underutilized now. So it takes up a lot of space, kind of just lays on the ground in the corner, and doesn't get used a lot. So for me, my number two, my biggest regret in my gym is definitely buying battle ropes, especially if you just don't use them, right? So stick around to find out what number one will be. All right. I do have an honorable mention here. And this is because I didn't purchase this, so I can't really have buyer's remorse. This was a gift to me by a family member. And it's one of those things where I kind of want an elliptical, and you know how I am. I'm kind of overbuilt, overdesigned, heavy equipment. And this was just something that I was like, oh, yeah, I'll use an elliptical. I'll take it. And I used it a few times, and I didn't like the stride length on it or anything like that. So another thing that's a huge regret for many gym owners is cardio equipment, right? We've all heard the story. The elliptical makes the best hanger. It's a coat hanger, whatever. You put your storage on there, on your elliptical, on your treadmill. So think about when you're going to buy something cardio related, especially. Is it going to be something that's going to use? Make a plan, right? 5 days a week, I'm going to go for a walk, right? Or 3 days a week, I'm going to do, high intensity on the bike. So don't buy a bike, don't buy an elliptical, don't buy a treadmill, don't buy those cardio equipment that cost, potentially thousands of dollars if you're not going to use them, right? So make sure you set a goal. If that means, if you're like, hey, I'm going to walk, every day on the treadmill, at a 3 mile an hour pace like I do, go for a walk in your neighborhood. Do it for a month before you make a big purchase like that. So one, buyer's remorse, we'll say my honorable mention will be this elliptical by Bodyworks. Again, not a purchase of mine, but thanks again anyways. Love you, Mom. All right, so number one of my top five of buyer's remorse is going to be the NoCo arm trainer. The reason being is was a total impulse buy. It's a gimmicky product. It does like one thing basically. And what really happened here was I fell for the gimmick, right? I fell for the ad. I fell for it, right? So this is not a complete knock on Coop from Garage Gym Reviews. However, this was something that was highly rated by him. He did a review on it. I watched it, and I saw that it connected to the bench. He said that it was a high quality made product, which it is. But it's one of those things where I don't use this, right? I don't use this at all. I'll be honest with you. It's an expensive item. It's about $130. I did get it with a discount code through Garage Gym Reviews, and that kind of helps, I guess. However, it's really cumbersome and kind of hard to put on, hard to use. The quality is great for what it is, because most time you see an arm blaster, and they're just one solid piece, and it's like really hard plastic, and it probably digs in a lot. And these do have foam pads, so there's that, I guess. But it does one thing, and it's not versatile in any way. And then I don't use it. So what's the point of me having this, right? So this is something that I'm probably gonna unload sometime soon. So overall, in the top five list, my regrets is not doing enough research, right? So for all of these, you kind of say, oh, you didn't do enough research, right? Or you didn't think about this, or I didn't think about that. So for the arm blaster, this is the number one because it highlights the home gym industry and how you have to really think about you. What are you going to use this for, right? How often are you going to use it? Is it worth the money, right? So don't just fall for one person's recommendation, right? Do your research. Look on Reddit, look on Instagram, look on YouTube. Go to multiple YouTube channels or multiple different sources. So really do your research and then bring it back to you. How are you going to use this product? And at the end of the day, if you're like, I don't know if I'll really use that in my training, then don't buy it, right? That's how you'll have that buyer's remorse. So for me, my biggest regret is I went to one source. I saw Coop, he advertised it. I used the code, I purchased it, and it was an impulse buy for a gimmicky product, and now I regret it because I don't use it, right? Now, maybe somebody can use this somewhere and they're really into their arm training and isolating this, but I'll be honest with you, just using this by itself, I could do the same thing doing an ISO curl on the end of my leg, right? Or doing it the old fashioned Arnold one as well, right? So there's not a huge upside to having something like this for me, and that's why I don't use it. So don't just trust one person, right? Go to multiple sources. So one of those sources could be with me, right? Here at the Bar Gym Reviews. So if you like what we're doing on the channel, please like, please subscribe, and comment. I really want to know, are there some things that you guys regret buying that you want to talk about, right? And maybe this will help others avoid situations like this and have pieces of equipment laying in their gym that they don't utilize, that take up space and they waste money. So thanks for coming by, and we'll see you next time.